This fall, Lee Majors takes it to the limits.
Who are you? Burt Reynolds. You ain't Burt Reynolds.
Lee Majors returns to television as Hollywood's craziest crash artist and hottest stuntman.
Sometimes I'm Robert Redford.
Catch a new spirit of action and adventure. Fall Guy.
Wednesdays the night, ABC is the place.
I'm just a Hollywood stuntman in between pictures.
I've done a number of shows, and of all the shows, they include Magnum P.I. and Quincy and a lot of others, Knight Rider. I think probably the most fun show of all of them was The Fall Guy.
Man, I can't believe this guy's luck.
Well, his luck just ran out. There was a big trend in the 80s about being interested in stuntmen. So, the appetite was there for a stunt show. We didn't sell this in a conventional way. This is the most unusual pitch that ever took place in television. A friend of mine who was the lead singer in a group called the Diamonds, who had 27 gold records back in the old days. And I had started in a singing group too, and we knew each other well. He had done some little stunt thing.
In 1979, I wrote a theme for a CBS television special about stuntmen. There I was a year later as a guest of my friend Glenn Larson in Hawaii, and I had one song in my guitar case. And I was off in the corner singing this tune to myself, and he wandered by and said, "What are you singing?"
I've been on fire with Sally Field, gone past with a girl named Bo, but somehow they just don't end up as mine.
And I listened to it, and I said, that's a great idea.
By the time I'd finished, he'd gotten the idea for a television show about stuntmen.
I might fall from a tall building, I might roll a brand new car, 'cause I'm the unknown stuntman that made Redford such a star.
We went to ABC television over in Century City, and a couple of fellows who were empowered to buy listened to his idea.
We took this idea of this song, and instead of going in and pitching anything, we just went in and sang the song.
Actually, I opened the meeting with the song that we had written, which was then retitled to be The Ballad of the Unknown Stuntman.
'Cause I'm the unknown stuntman that makes Eastwood look so fine.
At the end of the singing of the song, they said, go write the pilot.
Although Glenn had nothing on paper.
It was probably the most perfect pitch and the most easy pitch I've ever had in my life.
Kid, stuntmen live by a rule of thumb. Any stunt they can walk away from, they're a winner.
I ran into Lee Majors in an airport, and I had worked with Lee on the $6 Million Man. I developed that show.
I was really ready to do something different because it was very tough. I didn't want to still be known as just the $6 Million Man, so I tried to get rid of that typecast. And I thought, well, if I do one more series for 5 years, maybe they'll kind of forget the other one.
So we stood there. He was going one place, and I was going another. And we made the deal in the terminal.
He really hadn't written the script yet, and it was story ideas and storyline, and it sounded like fun and very interesting. And I know Glenn writes good stuff.
It's me, Colt Sears, your friendly neighborhood bounty hunter.
You dirty rat!
Everybody wanted to find a way to do the bounty hunter show. It's a great franchise.
Here's your expense money and photograph. Good luck.
Big Jack, this time I think you made a bad deal.
Why?
'Cause I'd have gone after this guy for nothing.
Being the bounty hunter was something that we added that was, made it, give it some more jeopardy, because you can't do a show on a stuntman. You have to have him doing something on the sideline, because most stuntmen do other jobs on the side.
Colleen, I'd like to help you, but I'm a bounty hunter. I only go after a man if there's a court order to bring him back.
The premise of the show was so flexible. A guy has to go out and bring someone back who's bailed out on the criminal justice system, jump, bail, and run. They have abilities to do things no policeman can do. It's based on an old law from the 1800s.
Colt, maybe you better explain something to me.
Well, if you look in the glove box, you'll find a federal law that defines legal restrictions in going after a dangerous fugitive.
Wow, Colt, according to this, you don't need warrants or court orders or anything.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Those fugitives usually don't wait around for you to get help.
It's a pretty simple show, It was
this is the bad guy, go get him. Do all this goofy stuff to get him, put on costumes.
But I wouldn't recommend you try anything until I come to a complete stop.
It's kind of like Scooby-Doo, only we weren't detectives.
Colt, that was far and away the most exciting stunt I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, well, it felt pretty good. Thought I died and gone to hell.
We'll see you on the next picture.
The pilot was a joy because it just came together, and we kept evolving it even during the pilot. You know, we found some other ideas and what we could do.
You're supposed to be in that fancy Eastern college.
Yeah, well, I'm back. The Ivy League taught me everything I need to know about being rich and famous like you. I learned it all, Colt.
Rich and famous like me, you ain't learned it all.
To see Lee Majors, who had been a robot for so long, or that really kind of stoic character on the Big Valley, he was very self-effacing in the show, and I think that delighted people.
And we opened with him in a bathtub with the bubble bath with a little duck, you know, and he's cigar in his mouth, and his bathtub's outside. And it's based on a real true place that my friend from the Diamonds lived in on top of the mountain.
This isn't a shed, it's my house.
That's your house?
This house in which we now sit and reside became the set for the Fall Guy. They remade the inside of the house.
Where are you going?
To go get Joe.
Don't pack that thing unless you're expecting trouble.
It's a movie gun, Jody, 3/4 load blanks. I only pack it to impress people.
We spiced up the pilot with a lot of pretty wonderful guest stars.
All right. Which one of you is the liar?
You know, judging from that handsome picture on the wall out there, you must be Sheriff Kramer.
And you'd be Colt Seavers, huh?
That's right.
We had James Colburn, who was a friend of mine, who I approached and asked if he would do a cameo. He said yes.
Colt! Listen, man, that was fantastic, that stuff. You've got to be insane. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, Jim. Good luck with the rest of the picture.
They'll need help, those guys. Major psychiatric help.
There was a young lady named Farrah something that I approached and asked if she would do a cameo, which she agreed to.
You taking care of yourself?
Well, I always do.
No, you don't. I know you. Remember?
Ready on the set.
Thank you.
We just had an abundance of fun.
Lee was part of the genesis of the show, and we talked, and we would, as I was developing it.
It was a collaboration. Lee had a very big hand in the show.
Great at taking control of the set. I'd say he and Jim Garner are two of the best in the business at having a team in which everybody likes everybody.
When you got a producer on the set, I was there for almost every shot. Then you see what's going on, you see how it's going slow or not getting done in certain ways.
He basically said, be on time, don't bump into the furniture, know your lines. We're not going for the envelope, we're going for the parking lot, so just talk fast, because when you stop, I start.
So it was a benefit for Glenn being in the office and for me being on the set. It worked well.
These stuntmen are definitely not all there.
Y'all set, Colt?
As ready as I'll ever be.
I think it was one of the first shows that showed behind the scenes as far as stunts were concerned.
Good luck, Jody.
They didn't have extras on CDs in those days that would show you the making of. And they never even thought the public would even be interested in the making of. That was something Glenn touched on.
Coming up on you, Jody.
Interesting thing about the show is that in all the time we did a show which was based on stunts, we never had any accidents. We just didn't have any problems. And we were doing some really tricky stunts.
Open your door. Get ready for a quick exit.
The part I liked about it was representing the Hollywood stuntmen and a chance to do a lot of stunts.
General Motors is very generous with us. They gave us a lot of trucks because that truck was always jumping something. I remember one of the first days we did it, it jumped some curb thing, some minor thing, and came down, broke both axles, all four wheels are going off in different directions.
We were going through so many trucks that they said, look, there's got to be a better way. So they moved the engine back underneath the seat, which gave it the balance switch. When you went up, you could land it. And then not only that, it wouldn't damage it so much that you couldn't go right around and do it again.
first time they gave me that gigantic truck and they put a little tiny mark, like it looked like a dime, about 200 yards away, and they said, okay, just do a four-wheel slide and put your right front tire on that at a 45-degree angle. It was like, take 95, you know, but I learned how to do it.
Hi, Jody.
Hi.
I met Heather Thomas at Universal.
I had worked for Glenn on a pilot or two and done some guest stars on a couple of his shows.
I just liked her work. I thought she was very, very good. So when it came time to cast this show, I just took her over to ABC.
I just got called in, you know, saying that Glenn wanted you to read for this role, and I read 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 and got the part.
Technically she read, but technically she had the part. You know, I didn't think they were going to find anybody better than her. She's a good little actress. I think probably highly underrated in terms of that because she was so sexy.
Well, I guess everybody remembers her coming through the Batwing doors.
Ta-da!
Everybody bought the posters. I don't know if they cared much about what the acting was like, but she was always there to deliver the goods. Sometimes that's not an easy role, you know, to be the sex symbol in a show and to be taken seriously.
Unless you want to spend the night picking up your teeth, you'll watch the way you talk and look at me. Do we understand each other?
Yes, ma'am. I'm all business.
Doug Barr, just a very, very bright guy. And he plays this buffoon.
Okay, pal. I'm sorry you did that.
Doug had to play a character that was a little bit like Yale, Harvard kind of guy, and he's kind of like trying to follow Colt around, who's a tougher bounty hunter and stuntman, and he wants to be like Colt.
I realize I'm just a junior partner. May I make a suggestion?
That's the only way you're gonna learn, what?
Let's get out of here.
Your first suggestion, kid, that's excellent, really excellent.
The minute we went on the air, we took off immediately, and we went into the top 10.
You know, trying to perceive how a show is being received is really difficult. You're not out in the public that much. I mean, I'm working 14 hours a day. It takes all your time, so you don't really get a chance to watch television, and you're just concerned with doing your work and doing it the best you can. So you don't know about ratings. I mean, they say, oh, you're rated number, whatever. It goes in one ear and out the other. I got to go do the job right now.
Bien, yo iré adelante rumbo al sur. Y solo quiero que sus ayudantes traten de alcanzarme.
It was a terrific hit overseas.
I still get a tremendous amount of mail from various places I've never even heard of.
A show like that, what helps it in the foreign markets is that it's not just dialogue driven. I mean, you have some wonderful visuals which hold, you know, you don't have to have as many subtitles or whatever, or looping.
Howie, ¿en dónde saliste? Porque Colt conducía el auto, ¿no?
That was always the weirdest one, was watching yourself speak in a different language.
No lo logrará.
Now, the show, it's like a James Bond movie or a movie that has a good action core to it. So those things translate overseas very well.
How'd it go?
Don't ask. And don't bother with the tan.
You don't expect me to go to Acapulco with that one, do you?
Yeah, well, we may have to postpone our trip.
All the cast members, they got along great. Heather Thomas, Doug Barr. Everybody loved their part. The show was so much fun to go to work. It was fun to go to work.
Hey, I always wanted to do this for real.
Just sit there and relax.
Well, I'm not the kind to kiss and tell, but I've been seen with Farrah. I've never been with anything less than a 9. So fine, I've been on fire with Sally Field, gone fast with a girl named Bo, but somehow they just don't end up as mine. It's a death-defying life I lead. I take my chances. I die for living in the movies and TV. I ever do is watch my leading ladies kiss some other guy while I'm bandaging my knee. I might fall from a tall building, I might roll a brand new car, 'cause I'm the unknown stuntman that made Redford such a star. I've never spent spent much time in school, but I taught ladies plenty. It's true, I hire my body out for pay. Hey, hey, I've gotten burned over Cheryl Teagues, blown up for Raquel Welch. But when I wind up in the hay, it's only hay. Hey, hey, I might jump an open drawbridge or Tarzan from a vine, 'cause I'm the unknown stuntman that makes Eastwood look so fine.